it's not just Juju coming into the WNBA. Are people actually going to want to pay up? In other words, take a $10 WNBA ticket and turn it into a $70 WNBA ticket or a $140 WNBA ticket, which sounds nuts just out loud to even say that about a WNBA ticket, but that sort of shows you the craziness behind Caitlin Clark.
The mainstream media has consistently attempted to spread Caitlin Clark's fame, and this tendency doesn't appear to be slowing down. The most recent dispute stems from ESPN First Take Stephen A. Smith, who has now turned his attention to Juju Watkins.
Nonetheless, they went on a rant today about Juju Watkins should be talked about in the same way as Caitlin Clark.
Let's be honest for a moment, he attempted to compare her to Caitlin Clark. Can you believe that? It's like comparing a newbie to a superstar who has already altered the game. Not only is Clark good, but she breaks records.
Before we even start, Caitlin Clark's actually already in the WNBA and has already been WNBA all first team. All WNBA first team. Think about that now. As a rookie. And led the league in assists and scored 19 points. And her team, which had the first pick last year, made it to the playoffs.
Yes, that's correct. Basketball fans are going crazy after Stephen A. Smith dropped a bombshell on ESPN's First Take that she did all of that as a rookie and led her team to the playoffs while Watkins hasn't even set foot on a WNBA court yet. Imagine Smith sitting there, as confident as ever, talking about Juju Watkins as if she were Caitlin Clark's second coming. Here's what happened. Smith is talking endlessly about Watkins while Shannon is scathingly complimenting her game, which is fine, but he goes too far.
We should be talking about her the way we talked about Caitlin Clark last year.
Did he really say that last year? It seems like Watkins, who hasn't even played on a WNBA court yet, is somehow comparable to the rookie sensation who is already shattering records. You should have seen the reaction. Basketball fans everywhere are shaking their heads, wondering if Smith has gone insane. One fan responded to the video on X with a perfect response.
There's only one Caitlin. Stop always using her name to talk about the other players.
They are entirely correct. Actually, there is just one Caitlin Clark. How can a college student be compared to a professional athlete who is already dominating the game? It's not just about the numbers. It seems like Clark is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers because of the way she perceives the game, those who don't look past the logo threes. Although Watkins may have potential, Clark has already demonstrated that she is capable of performing at the top level, and here's the real deal. This goes beyond simply contrasting two athletes. It also examines how the media consistently attempts to incite these fabricated rivalries.
If you want to talk about her, then talk about her. What do you mean we need to talk about her?
What's odd is that they seem unable to comprehend that people will care about whomever they want to without being coerced. In actuality, this comparison causes more harm than good. It undermines what Clark has already accomplished and places a great deal of strain on Watkins.
It's not just Juju coming into the WNBA. Are people actually going to want to pay up? In other words, take a $10 WNBA ticket and turn it into a $70 WNBA ticket or a $140 WNBA ticket.
Is Watkins capable of doing that? Now, Clark is altering the game, breaking records, and attracting spectators as if it were no big deal. Watkins may be great in the future, but for now there is no comparison. You may think you've seen rookie sensations before, but Caitlin Clark's first season in the WNBA was like she rewrote the rules for what's possible. Remember all the people who doubted her ability to succeed in the pros? Well, they're quite quiet now, and for good reason. The numbers Clark put up are not just good for a rookie, they're historic. When Clark joined the league as the #1 pick, expectations were extremely high.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
We're talking about a rookie who came in and started playing like an experienced pro right away, but even the most hopeful supporters couldn't have guessed what she would do. She didn't simply fulfill expectations, she blew them away.
Like, this isn't normal. This is not supposed to be happening. This is special.
This is when things start to get interesting. In addition to putting up impressive numbers, Clark led the league in assists. It's hard to believe that she accomplished that as a rookie. We're talking about a rookie outperforming seasoned players who have played for years. It's as if she arrived with a cheat code or something.
She is now the all-time rookie leader in points, assists, and three-pointers. There is exceeding expectations, and then there is whatever Caitlin Clark continues to do in her rookie season in the WNBA. She has taken every bar set for her and gone over it, and that is ridiculously impressive. Caitlin Clark is making a lot of people look silly thinking that it would have taken more time than this, and instead she is right where she was supposed to be, and then some.
And individual statistics aren't the only factor. Remember that this was a lottery team and they were at the bottom of the barrel the previous season. Clark changed everything on her club.
Having impact on her team that nobody else in the league is having on her team. This is a team that went 13-27 last year. And suddenly, the Indiana Fever are the hottest team by far in the league.
However, under Clark's leadership, they advanced to the playoffs, the kind of turnaround that makes you double-check the standings to make sure you're not seeing things, and went from last place to postseason candidates in a single season.
Now I always go back to Paulie's article in GQ. There's a difference between great players and phenomenons. No one ever said Caitlin Clark wasn't... no one ever said there weren't ever great players before Caitlin Clark. There was never phenomenons, not in my lifetime, with women's basketball. And I went to UConn. So I've seen plenty of great players, but nobody's ever moved the needle in my lifetime like this.
Yes, that's all this is. But they're I don't know. You keep chipping away at it, and it shouldn't be.
Let's now discuss those incredible passes and clutch shots. When the game is on the line, Clark is the player you want with the ball because she has an uncanny ability to see the court like no one else. She threads needles with her passes to find teammates who didn't even know they were open, and she has ice in her veins, making shots that leave opponents shaking their heads. So why was Clark's rookie season so historically great? It's straightforward. She didn't merely adjust to the professional game. Rather, she improved it by adding a level of talent and excitement that left both spectators and commentators in awe. Not only did Clark live up to the anticipation, but she also raised it to a whole new level. The worst part is that, believe it or not, some folks are still unimpressed. People are still attempting to minimize what Clark has accomplished in spite of all the records, highlights, and victories. It's as if they're watching a separate game or something.
You want to throw in Angel Reese. You want to throw the memory of Cheryl Miller or Cynthia Cooper. Like, it's a win. We got to... This is a unique moment. Caitlin Clark did for the WNBA what Wayne Gretzky did for the NHL when he went to the LA Kings.
Have you ever wondered why certain athletes are constantly being compared to Caitlin Clark even when the numbers don't add up? It's not just poor math, it's a well-planned deception, and the reason is more startling than you might imagine. The media is engaging in risky behavior, and Caitlin Clark is at the core of it.
Kind of like Angel Reese, and I'll keep using her as an example because she can't make a podcast without bringing up Caitlin Clark's name.
They are now creating drama rather than merely reporting. Recall how they attempted to match Angel Reese against Clark?
Just like Angel Reese, they could not bring up the Rookie of the Year last year without shoehorning Angel Reese in. Now, every article, remember talking about ratings and viewership? They would not talk about Caitlin Clark without putting Angel Reese's name in.
It's happening again with Juju Watson. But why is there such a fixation with making rivals for Clark? The truth is that it all comes down to the opinions. Fans are flocking to Clark's games in droves. The stats show that people pay attention when she performs, but the media is attempting to incite these fabricated rivalries rather than merely showcasing her talent.
I wonder, will they ever acknowledge her? 7 years from now, 2-3 MVPs in, a couple of championships. Nope, not going to be good enough, I promise. Not in the mainstream media anyway.
Fans are left wondering when the mainstream media would acknowledge Clark for the amazing influence she has had on the game and get over these meaningless comparisons because it seems like they can't handle the concept of one person being that brilliant.
they're talking about college and this and that and the other. Didn't Caitlin Clark literally have like the 2 biggest college seasons in the history of the planet Earth for a women's basketball player? I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts, but here we go. They're going to try to shove this player along with Paige down your throat.
What's really going on with Juju Watkins? The media doesn't seem to understand that because they're too busy trying to come up with the next big storyline to notice the incredible basketball that's happening right in front of them. Real rivalries are what get fans excited, and they can't be forced. It's time to separate the hype from the reality. Don't get me wrong, everyone is talking about Juju Watkins' potential, but potential doesn't win championships. What if I told you that there is a significant difference between Watkins and Clark that the media isn't mentioning? Juju Watkins is excellent. Her abilities make scouts salivate.
Juju Watkins is a marvelous basketball player for the University of Southern California. Last night she had another 30-point game. She broke Caitlin Clark's record, most 30-point games through a sophomore season. She's a terrific basketball player.
We're discussing a player who can put the ball on the floor, execute a gorgeous Euro step, and even make one-legged three-pointers. Her defense is excellent, but the question is that enough to place her in the same league as Caitlin Clark? Let's have a look at the stats. Watkins is also putting up impressive numbers, but they're not quite at Clark's level. When you watch them play, there's something different about Clark. She has this electricity, this it factor that you can't teach you. What really sets Clark apart isn't just her skills, it's her impact on the field. Clark's college stats were off the charts. She was breaking records left and right, leaving defenders in the dust.
Martin looking. Here's Clark. She fires, and it goes! She hit it!
When Clark enters the court, everything alters the arena's energy, including how defenses fumble. Her impossible passes appear effortless. Watkins is undoubtedly gifted, but she hasn't yet demonstrated that potential to change the game. What must Watkins do to catch up to Clark? It's a difficult task. She must not only be exceptional, but also historic.
We weren't watching this no matter how great a player, Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, Breonna Stewart, all great players. But they weren't doing this.
No. Kelsey Plum scored 3,500 points in her career. But she wasn't the attraction here. Sabrina Ionescu was a triple-double at Oregon. She's not the player that Caitlin Clark is.
Since there is only one Caitlin Clark, she must perform something we have never seen before, and even then, there is no assurance. The final line is that it is unfair to both players to force this comparison. Watkins deserves the opportunity to follow her own path free from continual comparisons to a generational talent, and Clark, her accomplishments speak for themselves without the need for an artificial rivalry.
This is going to be history. It's like what I told her, that's pretty epic that we get to watch her, because not a lot of games here in Dallas with somebody that big of a star.
Let's face it, Caitlin Clark isn't just altering the game, she's redefining it. Her influence extends far beyond statistics. She's giving women's basketball a whole new dimension and making every game seem like an event that must be seen. You can't gauge that type of impact just by looking at the numbers.
You could tell the difference with the WNBA impact on the city ever since, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, everybody's come out of the draft.
The truth is that we may enjoy brilliance without having to make comparisons. The future of women's basketball is looking brighter than ever thanks to Clark's talent, which speaks for itself. Rising stars like Juju Watkins and Angel Reese are making waves as well, but instead of pitting them against one another, why not celebrate each player's individual skills? The next time you watch a game, take a moment to appreciate the talent on display. No forced rivalries, no exaggerated comparisons, just pure basketball. This sport is all about brilliance, and with athletes like Clark setting the standard, the greatest is still to come.